So today is going to be the most unique video that's ever been on RSD Nation ever. We have here some amazing business superstars that are not just killing it in terms of business success, but also developing the right mindsets for success and being people who I consider spiritual. I call this the spiritual team. So I thought it'd be really cool because these are some of the most rock star business people on the planet. I guess I would like to have you guys each introduce yourselves and talk about how you create your business, what your business is, and how you're related to the process of spirituality and success. I guess we'll start with Livia.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm the founder and CEO of an organization called Conscious Wealth Builders, and it really is about bringing higher consciousness to business. So what does consciousness mean? Really, being conscious means to be aware, to be awake. Be aware and be awake to what? Well, really, the magic of life and who we are as human beings. We truly are spiritual beings having a human experience. And so a lot of times we get stuck in the rat race of human doing as opposed to human being. And so really it is about developing ourselves as these spiritual beings in this, it's actually a fourth dimensional world, and we live as though we're in this third dimensional world, and it's really stepping into this new paradigm. And I know you're going to be speaking more about that. And then it's really so taking us through that process of what's my life's purpose, what is my true authentic purpose of being on this planet. Money is a beautiful expression of being able to use that as a force for good and to create more with it and do good in the world with money. And so that's really the mission and the vision of this company, is to empower leaders to become entrepreneurs and create their life's work through the power of entrepreneurship and create a business that's really in alignment with their true highest values. And so there's a lot to that, and I'm still in the development creation aspect of all of that. I'm putting all of the pieces together because this will be a global organization. And in fact, I'll be coming here to my buddy Dave here very soon for some coaching, because that's what Dave does, is he helps people build empires. And so we've done some masterminding, and I'm excited to be working with him this year. So yeah, that's basically it in a nutshell.
Yeah, and I've also spoken on your conscious wealth building panel. You got 1,200 people.
Yes.
And they were all watching different business gurus. I thought that was kind of cool, like a new version of Napoleon Hill. Absolutely. And you're the first person that met me and gave me a movie that was produced by her. So I thought that was cool.
Oh, cool. Amazing. So thank you. That didn't, being based here in beautiful, West Hollywood, that sounds really surprising. But yes, so I'm an executive producer of a movie, a documentary feature called The Connected Universe Film. And it's a film about consciousness and the science of how we're all connected and how we're all one. And why I got into this, becoming a producer, my background, I'm a chiropractor, an acupuncturist, a nutritionist, a mind-body wellness expert. I took on becoming part of this because it was inspiring to see a science that supported the idea that we are all connected and that we are all one. And then the director, Malcolm Carter, is amazing at putting together this heart-based message around how that applies to us in real life and how that matters to us. And now I'm creating from there a program under my umbrella name of like Dr. Lesia Anna, but I'm creating Conscious Wealth Creators. So Livia and I met almost 2 years ago now, and we both at the same time went, because that's how the universe works, we went Conscious Wealth Creators, conscious business. And we both got inspired together, and we both created our companies. And I say conscious wealth creators, and wealth means more than just physical, the monetary wealth. We're talking about your health, your relationships, your relationship to yourself, to the divine oneness. And so this has been something that I feel absolutely passionate about and purposeful about, is to help create a better world for not just myself, my family, and my friends, but for everybody that wants to listen and cares to hear this kind of a message. So I'm super excited about my movie. I'm super excited about my online programs to help others and to help create raise the consciousness on this planet, help create awareness that we can all share and be happier and give back. And in giving back, we create a happier life for ourselves. And I also am going to connect here with Dave and continue to build my business as well, so that I can help even more people.
Yeah, I actually met Dave a decade ago, because he was I think the final keynote speaker on Saturday at the World Speaker Summit in London. Yeah. And then I was the one on Sunday at the end of the day. And then we met at dinner. And I invited him to a mastermind I was having at Tony Hsieh's place. And back then, you were 60 pounds heavier. I didn't even recognize you when I saw you. And you were a totally different person as well. Yeah. And now you're living in this spiritual community. And I think it's amazing, you know?
You know, life's a journey. You know, this lifetime I had lots of lessons to learn. So I was, you know, in my younger days, you know, making a lot of money, living that rock star life. And just to me, Nick, I was just unfulfilled. You know, I had every materialistic thing, you know, but something inside of me was missing. And I couldn't put my word on it. I thought it would be, well, make more money would fix this, or buy another yacht, or buy another car, go on another date. And it just became a chase. And I just woke up and I'm like, there's got to be something more in life. And that's when I found the truth.
Yeah. And now your speaking empire. I'd love for you to talk a little bit about that also.
Well, one of the things that I believe is that for us to make the world a better place, it's not going to be in Washington. It's going to be leaders. And leaders need to get their voice out. And what Speaking Empire does is it shows people not only how to define their passion and add value through the passion, but monetize their passion so they can gain a scalable organization so that they can really impact the world. And it's a lot of fun.
Awesome. Cool. Now, this is the first time I've also had, you gave me a movie. I think that was cool. This guy says, hey, do you want a giant stone panther statue? That was the first thing that he said. And I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. I have a house in Vegas that'd be perfect for her. You know, I thought, yeah, I know. Every time I come to Hollywood, every day, like all day long, really interesting people come by and say hi, and they just join the Nick Co Mastermind. It's kind of cool. But you're also somebody who is in the public speaking training world, and I'd love for you to introduce yourself and talk about what you do as well.
Hey, well, my name is Power Duquette. Very excited to be here. Thank you for having me. And yeah, I have a couple of Jaguars that I bought at an auction many years ago, and they're really kind of crowded my pool area, so I figured, hey, I see that you like those type of things, so I'm more than happy to get it out of my way. So, supposedly put 600 kids to school during that auction time by buying these actually four Jaguars. I lost one in a divorce, so I need some room, so I'm happy to give it to you. But yeah, I have a seminar company. Basically, I'm a hypnotist. I do stage hypnosis shows. I teach people how to take on what goes on in here, turn it into more money, health, wealth, happiness, better relationships, losing weight, stop smoking, whatever fears that are keeping people stopped and stuck in life. So what I do is I have a seminar called The Shift, and I actually train people how to have a mindset shift from where they are to where they want to be. And what I love about it the most is it's like Dave. I'm no Dave. For my God, this transformation with him, I'm in love with it. I know the old Dave. I've had some pictures of those days. Wow. Talk about amazing transformation and a guy that I can just look at and say, wow, that's exactly what we're all up to in the world, and in our own little way of doing that. And mine is like to show people how what we think about, what we speak about, but like the actual words we use. Because as a hypnotist, what we do, we use words to hypnotize people. And we're all hypnotists, and we're all hypnotizing people every single day. And we're either pushing people further away from us or drawing them closer to us by everything that we're speaking coming out of our mouths. So I teach people how to do that, and also how to actually program their subconscious mind so they can achieve anything in life. And I absolutely love what I do. So thanks for having me here.
And Amanda Holmes, I used to hang out with your dad, Chet Holmes, back in the day. He used to share his dating advice tactics with... I know your mom's an audience.
He had a gift for systematizing businesses, and that's, I kind of stand on this panel in two different ways like Dave. I inherited the business at 24. We've assisted over 200,000 businesses worldwide and had a couple hundred staff, and I was 24 and everyone else was in their 50s and 60s, business consultants teaching marketing and sales of established businesses. And I walk in, and before that I had been studying with my guru in Asia how to meditate and teaching meditation. And I looked at this and went, can I just go back to Asia? I don't want to have anything to do with this. And it took really working on myself and working on that internal process of understanding what is my true destiny? Where do I really need to be? And it ended up that I needed to be CEO of this company. And I've been CEO the last 2 years, and we've doubled our business the last 2 years in a row. And I really attribute that to two different things. One, my father's core competencies, teaching about how it's not about doing 4,000 things. It's about doing 12 things 4,000 times. That repetition is the mother of all skill, right? And we teach those things, those 12 steps to double your sales. And then it also takes that inward journey of understanding who you are, what your strengths are, and what makes you glow and what makes you sparkle so that you can bring that to the table. And that's what I've learned with our guru, Guruji. And we're part of a nonprofit called Divine Bliss International. So when people come to me and they get their assistance with sales, that's great. And then I say, hey, you know, are you searching for anything more? Do you feel unfulfilled with everything that you have? You know, does it just feel like there's something more to life than the material world? And sometimes people say yes, and then we take them on a journey.
That's awesome. Now, I mean, if everybody who's part of this whole spiritual retreat, where I guess you two live, they're also business rock stars, it makes me consider wanting to be a part of that community as well. Even though I'm, you know. But if everyone's already there, that's pretty amazing. You know?
Well, all roads lead to what, you know, to the spiritual world, right? So you can, at the end of the day, after you've chased so many mountains and climbed so many mountains and won so many different things, you're going to find out there's more than life than out here.
Well, one of the things that I've always focused on in terms of who I want to do business with was trying to find the people with the right ethics. People who are trying to look to help society and give value to the world as opposed to just take. And it not just affects the service they provide to their customers, but the relationships they affect, and that kind of spirals like a domino effect throughout society. And I guess I'm interested in having you guys talk about what you have done in terms of offering value to the world and what you have done in terms of like a spiritual sense and how that's affected not just your customers, but also how it's aligned with what your passions are.
I think, when I was 15, I started doing meditation and really working on my inner space. And so I think a gift that I have is just being able to create that peace when I'm around people. That's the feedback that they give to me. And that was doing a lot of inner spiritual work and just loving myself and accepting myself for who I am and for who I'm not. And the impact that has on the people around you is huge. That's the feedback that I get is when I'm around my friends and people in business is that they have the freedom to be them because I see their heart and I see their soul and I see their greatness and I bring that out of people. And so that's a part of my spiritual walk is to unconditionally love people, and I try as best as I can to really to walk that walk.
Well, I know that First Direct Financial, you're also the global sales leader for that company, and I think that you definitely walk the walk, and the people that you introduced me to have all been people I want to do business and banking with because of that kind of connection.
Yeah, and that's what, my whole organization, Conscious Wealth Builders, is about. It's about people, planet, prosperity. And, you can do good in the world. You can take care of people. You can give them extraordinary customer service. You can take care of the planet as well, be resourceful and green conscious, and you can make money. Like, you don't have to step over people to make profits. You don't have to do that. And when I got that awareness, because, when I was younger, and I'm sure that a lot of you can relate, I would look around and I would see people, stepping over, like just greed, right? Just totally not even caring about the other person. And I'm like, how is this going on in the world? And then you see people destroying the planet through their products and services, and it's like, we don't need to do that either. So that's really my commitment, is that people understand from a higher level of consciousness that we can have it all. We don't have to choose, profits, and then, I can't take care of people. No, you can have it all. You can take care of the planet. You can give extraordinary value to people, life-changing products and services, and make a really amazing living and live a prosperous life. And sometimes that doesn't equal money. I've created a pretty amazing life not being a millionaire. I'm making, a little over $100,000 a year, and I've lived a millionaire's life. Being here today, at a mansion, it's like, and this is how my life shows up, because I don't define myself as how much is in my bank account. It's relationship capital, right? Knowing people like you and creating relationships with other people. And so you can manifest really anything you want, and it doesn't necessarily have to be through money. It's just the attitude and the consciousness and your your heart and your mind, just how you view life.
My professional life as a
Yeah,
chiropractor,
definitely.
as a healer, and I started noticing
I guess I'll
that
just go next then, but,
healing was more more towards the energy.
I
What
started
kind of
my-
energy was flowing through people's body. So I studied acupuncture, and I was still working on the very physical, level. Even with acupuncture, I was like, oh, that's nice. They, they figured out these meridians, or these chakras, and I did yoga, for the stress management. And as life progressed, I ended up in, my first divorce. And this was supposed to be the ideal person in my life. And I had a crisis. I thought, if this is supposed to be the perfect marriage, why did it break down? And I went and I plunged into quite a deep despair. And I share this because I think it's important to understand that being vulnerable is okay, and sharing our dark nights of the soul can empower others. That I didn't come to this place through a rose garden. I came through it through a very dark night of the soul. I didn't quite just jump into the spiritual side of my life. I went through a run of, I became an expert skydiver, and I was, extreme sports enthusiast, climbing and skiing, double black diamonds. I went into that whole extreme, like, where's my life experience that gives me this fulfillment, and realized I needed to financially succeed, so, followed some other steps in real estate investment, and that was great, but unfulfilled, just still going, wow, okay, I've got this, now what? There's this emptiness. And I began to really study meditation and NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, and beginning to understand the connection between mind and body and soul, and realizing that we really do need to address the soul. Now, I come from a very strong science background, so I like to think of myself as the bridger between, the esoteric soul and the science of quantum physics. And so my movie that I helped to produce, The Connected Universe, talks about a science about how everything really truly is all one and connected at the same time, and why that matters to us as human beings, and how that empowers us to understand this as human beings, not necessarily from the esoteric spiritual side of it, but from a scientific, simple, beautiful equation side of it. And when I saw this information the first time, I breathed the biggest sigh of relief and felt in my heart the most deep connection finally for myself and my purpose, and understanding that I am the bridger between science and spirit, and I can share this with others and help people to empower them. I don't believe the governments are going to give us the answers either. We need to rise up from within ourselves, to see that we really are connected to the spiritual divine oneness. And when we understand that, and then, of course, the movie is one step, but then there are programs out there, there's mine, there's others, people are bringing this information to the people so that we can all live a more empowered and share the abundance on this planet. There is infinite abundance here. There's enough for you, for me, for every single one of us. And, we don't have to own it all. We can enjoy the abundance with each other. I share my abundance with others. Others share their abundance with me. And you know what? Yeah, sometimes people come and take something. As long as I have my relationships, as long as my family is still, intact, and I can try to create a better world for my family, so they're not worried about war and hunger and all those things that we all in the back of our minds are constantly worried about. It's we all know what's going on out there. So it is my mission to create conscious wealth, and wealth, I believe, should be changed into not just the material wealth, but into the spiritual, the relationships, the connection to our health, and really to empower people, to show them that they actually have far more say in the life that they get to live than we are taught in our schools and in our general social media, so to speak. So It's really important to me to bring that out.
But you know, Nick, I think I can really connect with your audience because I have a lot of similarities, meaning I think for me growing up, a lot of us have a lot of challenges in life growing up. For me, it was a struggle. You know, parents got divorced. Father was an alcoholic. If that wasn't bad enough, I got held back from, third grade to second grade. So who I was inside was very broken. I didn't have a father figure in my life. So when I made it to high school, what I started to get was attention. And I became an attention-seeking addiction from the opposite sex. And so, always looking for the next date or the next party. And majority of my life was in that energy of always doing that. And it was such a temporary fix, and it wasn't me inside. And I'll never forget, being up all night, being in the clubs and doing those things. And I'm in my limo, it's Sunday, and we're taking my limo to the football game to tailgate. And just being into that energy of that, being up all night for the whole weekend, and I'm just remember being so dizzy, I lay down in the limo and I can hear the techno music, dance music, and I'm like, I look up and I see all these people, and I'm like, who are these people? Like, I didn't even know who they, I'm like, who are these people? I'm like, I am so miserable. I am so unhappy. And that's when it hit me. There's got to be a better way. And that's when I started to study about, personal development and connecting to your soul and your spirit. And that's truly when you really have bliss. And so, I think if somebody's out there, if they're struggling with some kind of, physical pain, or they're just unhappy, unfulfilled, and they're just searching, I would love to invite you to come to Divine Bliss and connect with any of us on this panel. And we would love to serve and support you on your journey and give you some practical scientific strategies, give you some tools and support so that you can just become more present, more blissful. And I think that that's why we're here. We're here because of this meaning of we want to empower each and every one of you that are listening.
So for me, I have a similar story. I grew up, my dad was never around, multiple divorces, stepdads, all that type of thing. I was the only male since my grandfather, so I grew up with all women. So, there was a challenge around that. I couldn't connect with anybody at any family reunions, and I'm the one always getting pinched on the cheeks and all this silly stuff. I'm like, leave me alone, man. Women are crazy, man. Please, I don't fit here at all. I really had a sense of I just don't belong here. Like, I don't fit. And I can't even count how many times I literally thought about killing myself before I was 19 years old, 20 years old. Like, I just was like, I'm not supposed to be here. I remember literally saying out loud, why do I have to deal with this crap? I didn't, I'm not here. Once I learned what sex was, I realized saying, look, so male and a female get together and have sex, and now I got to deal with this mess, because they want to do this. Like, I really hated being on this planet. And so I want people to get really clear on where I come from, what I do. Like, I know some people have stories like that and way worse, and I get it. And you don't even need to have bad stories like that growing up. But here's what I do know. I grew up around a 95% rule. I grew up around 95% of people just negative naysayers. I mean, I was just taught stuff in the public school system and in my own family that you just got to take what they're given, yet that, this is the way it is, and it's not going to get any better, and don't break the system. You'll work hard to get ahead. Go get a good education to get ahead, to be successful, and you'll be happy. And I believed all that stuff. And so often, as children, we're taught things that aren't real. Like, we literally grow up to realize that most of the stuff we were taught by our people is a lie. There is, I don't know if there's kids watch this, there is no Santa Claus. There is no tooth fairy.
Disclaimer, children, please do not watch this.
But I just remember when I told my ex-wife, I said, look, if our daughter asks us if there's a tooth fairy, I'm telling her. I'm not lying to my kid about nothing ever. And it occurred for me is that, it's like every year at a certain year, it's like, oh my God, they lied to me about that. They lied to me about this. They lied to me. And so the beauty behind that was, well, maybe they're also lying to me about this 95% rule, that we're stuck here. This is all we're going to get. Mm-hmm. And at first I lived, similar to Dave, a very, very destructive life. I literally said, okay, I don't believe in killing myself, but maybe I can just do the craziest stuff that something will kill me. Like, literally, I didn't think I would live past 30 years old. And so I tried every single crazy thing, drinking and partying, doing the same thing. I mean, I've literally been hit by cars, fall off a 3-story building. I mean, you name it. I mean, people pulled guns on me.
Now we know what happened to you.
Yeah. I got issues, man. And so going through all this, and much more, so a couple things. One, a lot of people say, what's the one thing? Well, there's not one thing. The shift happens. A different shift is there for you in certain areas for people not here. And so it could be something traumatic, it could be something minor. And the reality of it is it's constantly staying in the game and having more shifts, more awareness. Is constantly bringing yourself to look inside you. Like, what is it that I need? Where am I? Constant thing of doing self-analyzation. Like looking at yourself authentically and going, look, where are you not right? Where are you not living fulfilled? Where are you not being authentic? Where are you out of integrity? Instead of pointing out there at all that stuff, and that's what I used to do tremendously. I was the biggest, finger pointer on the planet. It was always out there, and it wasn't. And so then I went out and made money in real estate. I had a similar feeling of Dave. I'll go out and become rich. So I go out and make millions of dollars in real estate, and now I'm just a rich a-hole. Nobody likes me. I don't like them. I'm like, this is not going to work. And so that's when I finally got on my personal development journey. I literally started, okay, there's got to be something different. There's got to be something more. And it just so happened that my first mentor was a hypnotist, and I bought every single thing that he had. He was the first person that ever spoke possibility and positivity. Everything was negative, and everything was a grind, and everything was a fight. And so I bought every single thing he had, went through all his training classes. So obviously I've been trained as a hypnotist. I do one-on-one hypnotherapy sessions. And a $10,000 check, 20, 150, doesn't even matter. The check to me is irrelevant to what I feel now and experience when I have, like my chiropractor. I work out at a gym, and the chiropractor, she's about 4'11", tiny little girl. She goes to get surgery on her foot. She had post-traumatic stress disorder from when she was a child. They did surgery and they cut her jugular vein by accident. Well, what happens when you do that? You choke, and she's young, so she has post-traumatic stress disorder about this. She goes to get surgery. They had to give her 6 times the anesthesia to put her under. The anesthesiologist literally said, I'm giving you one more shot, and if you don't go under, we're canceling this. I feel like I'm going to kill you. She tells me about this. I said, well, I told you I'd do a hypnotherapy session. She didn't do it. 6 months later, she tells me, guess what? She had to do the surgery over again. Her foot didn't take whatever the issue was. I said, well, you can do a hypnotherapy session if you want. She does one hypnotherapy session with me. Her husband calls me. It was on Friday. She came to my house. Did a hypnotherapy session with her Friday. Monday, her husband calls me. He says, you are a miracle worker. That was amazing. I don't know what you did. She was the calmest person in the room, walked in there, normal anesthesia. And here's what the beautiful part about this. I like everyone here, we travel around the world. We help transform people's lives. We get thank yous. We get emails. We get, presents. They see us maybe occasionally, give us hugs and cries, and that's great. And the difference with her is that I get to see her every day. And I remember the conversation she was prior to this one little incident to where she is now. Now she's just had twins. She's madly in love with her husband. Like they have an amazing relationship. She's a different human being. You can literally see that. And so that's what's possible through really stepping to the plate and conquering your fears and actually looking inside and stop pointing the finger outside. So my passion, like everyone's here, is, and the money follows because of it, is to really help other people who are stuck in whatever area that is, mind, body, relationship, money, whatever it is, whatever space you're stuck in. It's not your perception that it doesn't have to be your reality. I love Mythbusters guy. He says, I reject your reality and I replace it with my own. I love that because that is such a truth. It doesn't have to be that way. And you can have a shift that literally changes your life for the rest of your life and literally can happen in a moment. It doesn't take years and years of therapy and challenging times. So my passion is to give, just like everyone here, to literally give people, out of where I used to live, which is in pain and anger and anguish and just hate anger, right? And so really show people how to live a life where they love it. I get up in the morning, I love my life. Even with the challenges I still face, because with bigger wealth and responsibility, you got more responsibility and bigger challenges. That's all that happens, and you just literally be able to deal with them much more effectively. So that's what I love about what I do. So, thank you.
Yeah, nice.
Wow, I love that. I'm going to piggyback on what you were saying. I have some stats because I am a wealth of random stats. We have a research firm. It's what we teach about marketing. Can you put market data with product data? But on average, studies have shown that each person has 100,000 thoughts a day, and 80,000 of those thoughts are negative. 80,000. And what I've learned from Guruji, our teacher, is that those thoughts turn into debris in your aura, and they collect. And like for instance, if you have somebody behind you and you sense that somebody's next to you but they haven't touched you, that's because they're in your aura, right? Your electromagnetic waves. So as they collect, then let's say you're in an environment of negativity, or people that come into you, and then after they've left, you still feel them, and you can't really, you're like, how can I brush this person off, right?
Brush me off. There's energy there. I don't want it. I love you.
But what Guruji has taught us is that it becomes like debris in your aura, and then it gets absorbed. If it's there long enough, it absorbs into the body and it creates disease. And she says that disease, there's no such thing as disease. It's actually the dis-ease of your mind. Mm-hmm. So some of the things that you can do to get that inward reflection and to clear away the debris in your aura is to meditate. And she's also taught us, which I am a huge believer, I am a poster child for, for this 100%, because I walked in, I had a music degree. I had no experience in business. And then start making decisions about, okay, this division, we need to do this. With this sales team, we need to do that. How would I know? It was because I went inward and I went through a process of understanding how to meditate. We call it chanting. So having a mantra, something that you repeat over and over again, because the sound of your own voice can actually balance your body, start to balance your body and clear away the debris that's stuck there.
For me, I used to also party really hard as well. I was drinking every single day, going out to the clubs this is even before I got into real social dynamics. And I ended up then trying to solve that through joining the Air Force Reserves Officer Training Corps and trying to go down a totally different path, getting back into that hard work ethic I grew up with as a conservative Asian kid. But in my life, there was a certain kind of learning lesson or epiphany that kind of struck me and helped me follow that path of self-actualization and transformation. Each of us will have these kind of learning lessons that kind of strike us and are really memorable in our head. Wow. Now for me, one of the things was a thing that Stephen Covey teaches, which is how to be more principle-centered in your life as opposed to focusing on that one thing, whether it's like pleasure and ecstasy and getting addicted to pickup or partying, or whether it was money, getting addicted to just making tons of money. I created a financial firm when I was 18 and I was an RIA. Or, whether it's family and all you care about is trying to spend as much time with your family or friends. Now, instead of focusing on these centers, I felt like my life was going out of control in one way or another until I kind of just focused on my values, what I really cared about. I was curious about what it was for each of you, which was the epiphanies that kind of was the most memorable part of that self-actualization process that each of you have gone through.
Wow, yeah, okay, so when I was 15, I got deep into drugs and actually went into rehab when I was 17. And during that process, a lot of times people will talk about, using drugs gives you access to, for me, it really connected me with the spiritual realms, although it's not the best way to go because there's a lot of consequences that come with that. But it opened up me to see more in life. And there was one particular instance, and this was during that time, but I was laying on the couch and I was, sober that day, and I was taking a nap because I was tired, probably from partying, and I'm laying on the couch and I could slowly feel my body start to fall asleep. I couldn't move my body, but I still was consciously awake, and I went into that paralysis, like right before you go to sleep, you're in deep state of consciousness. And my third eye, I could see this movie screen, like when you sleep, you see this dream, right? And I see this movie screen, and it was me, and there was this beautiful white light, this angelic humming sound, and I'm going in and out of this amazing state and euphoria of ecstasy, and then would feel my body like on the couch. So I'm like stuck between dream state and being stuck on the couch and not being able to move my body. So it was panic, ecstasy. So I'm going back and forth, and I'm a young girl at this time. I was probably 15 or 16. And I saw myself, and I was walking down this aisle with these beautiful light beings that were in white robes. And again, there was this beautiful sound. There was no words that were said, but they were giving me love, so much love and just appreciation for something that I had done. It was like a ceremony for me. It was like it was like almost like a wedding. And then I sat next to this gentleman, of course, depicted with the white beard, and he was, he wasn't better then, but he was there, kind of, he was the godfather of the group, and it was so impactful once I woke up out of this state, I immediately went to, the computer and I started researching, because I'm like, who's going to believe me? Like, what was this? And after doing a lot of research and a lot of soul searching and asking, monks and priests and anyone that would listen, I'm like, what does this mean? And they're, and then once I did more inner reflection, what I got was, it doesn't really matter what it means, whether it's a past life or whether it's, the star family where I come from or guides or whatever, but it sparked something within me that I knew that there was more to life than what I thought, which was you go to school, you graduate, you get married, hopefully you make money, and then you get the, house with the picket fence and like that. And life was mundane. It was like, this is it, kind of. There was no magic. And so that moment, it sparked something within me. It sparked that magic of, wow, okay, I'm here on this planet to make a difference. I don't know how, and I don't know what, but that's when it set me on this journey.
So for me, it started this intuitively. When I was very young, I think I was 6 or 7, I was on fire. I was playing with my sister and
oh, literally,
crazy.
You were on
I
fire.
Was literally on fire. I was literally physically on fire. Yeah, and my T-shirt was anyway, and it was on my chest. And I ran into the lake. We were playing with crazy kids. We grew up at the cottage, and we were playing with gas and little cans and burning ropes. And the can got on fire, and my sister was trying to flick sand on it, and it flicked up onto my chest because I was little, right? And it flicked up onto my chest, and I was on fire, and not knowing what to do, instead of stop, drop, and roll, I ran into the lake. And later that day, I had like massive blisters. I had like, quite a bit of damage. And that night, I grew up, my mother was Catholic. I don't resound with Catholicism right now, but I prayed, and I prayed, for some relief, because it was painful, and we were out at the cottage. And I remember feeling, as I was laying there, like a hand on my chest, physically. And I woke up and I went to my mom and I said, Mom, I felt like a hand on my chest. I felt like this, I called it an angel hand, and I don't know what it was. And she being even a Catholic, went, oh, okay, that's nice, dear, go back to bed. And that experience, even though I didn't physically see something, changed me on a vibration level. I knew from then on that there was something more than what meets the eye. And then later in life, I think awakening and learning to understand how the world of divine intervention and this physical world works is a process. It's a journey. It's not, one day you're here and the next day you're suddenly like seeing all of the truth. I believe that it's a journey, and for me, one of the more significant ones as an adult now in this day and age is I live in Vancouver, British Columbia, and we had bought a second home. We wanted to downsize. I didn't want as big of a home, so we bought a second home, and we kind of made the mistake of doing a bridge loan instead of first selling the one home and then buying the other. And then suddenly I found myself, I'll never forget this, on a Thursday, realizing that the bank is telling me that we don't have money for the second house. There is no mortgage because they expected us to sell the first house first. And we said, but you were giving us a bridge loan. And they said, yes, that was based on you having a signed contract that you were selling your first house. And I just went, oh my God. And my spouse at the time just said that he put his, I'll never forget this, put his hands in his head and just went, that's it, we're done. It's over. And I looked at him and I stopped and I went, no. And I physically put my hand out and I said, stop. That is not my reality. I did not come this far to have to restart at zero. And I had a young child. I mean, this was a serious thing. We had till Monday afternoon to come up with a lot of money, $1.2 million. And 2 of those days is a weekend. Lawyers and banks are closed. They're not interested. The bank told us very clearly, we've given you as much as we can. You already have this loan. And I remember very distinctly saying, this will not be my reality. And I tuned every single cell of my body to creating the possibility that I needed. And I said, angels, I called in divine help. I said, angels, guide this path so that I, am showing people from this how to create their own abundance. 5 days, 2 of which are a weekend. By 1 o'clock on a Monday, I needed to come up with $1.2 million. I called 2 friends. I said, I need help. Both of them said, let me call you back. By Monday at noon, I'm calling my insurance people, I'm calling the lawyers, I've got these guys transferring me money, and we're fine. Literally down to like minutes. Never give up. Understand that it's all your intention and how you manage your energy and your possibilities. And when somebody wants to give you a negativity and take you down that vortex of this is not possible, it's up to you to decide that, if that's the truth or not. And I, from that moment, realized I can teach this to other people. And that's what I do.
It's great. I truly believe in that mindset that anything is possible. You can make that happen very deeply. It reminds me of my recent cat who got diagnosed with a terminal disease that's never been cured in 50 years. And when my wife found out about it, and the cat was like 5 months old or 4 months old, they said, okay, we have to put your cat to sleep now because it's going to be mass amounts of pain in 5 days, and its lungs were already full of liquid and it was just suffocating, going to die. I said, I just started reaming out the guys. There's no way this cat's going to die. This cat will live. This is what's going to happen. You're going to apologize to my wife. This is not going to happen. My cat's going to live. And then he actually apologized to me, but then we went and started contacting doctors and vets and all sorts of specialists and people who create pharmaceutical companies trying to cure this. And we eventually got a hold of a doctor who was working on this experimental clinical trial. And I contacted him, and he said that he had no interest in treating our cat, so I contacted a private investigator and a professional military service company that does investigations, and we found out every employee he's ever had, every family member he's had, and I lobbied each of them and offered each of them $10,000 if we could get my cat into the trial. The first one who could do it would win the money. So he sends me a series of long, angry emails, saying, I told you you are not going to get your cat in the trial. Stop contacting my wife and my friends. It looks like you've done your due diligence. And so I sent a bunch of pictures of me snuggling with my cat and my wife. And then he's like, okay, look, I'll get your cat in the trial. I hired a professional nurse who specializes in cats, moved into my house, a 3-story house in Vegas, 10 bedrooms, had a place for her boyfriend. I got them to mail us hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of medicine. And our cat is the first cat to survive.
Amazing. Yes. If you have a passion for a direction, it is possible. There are no limits. As soon as somebody says to me, it's impossible, like Alice in Wonderland, there's nothing that is
There's always
impossible.
a way.
There's always a way.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, I will qualify that I paid through the nose for that loan. But I wasn't sunk. Yeah. I was not sunk, and I was able to then, sell the other house, and we moved on, and things were fine. So, sometimes we have to pay to get there, or whether in finances or some way. But if you want something, and it's possible, you can make things happen. Do not give up on your dreams. Do not give up on your passion. Find your purpose. Live with passion. And you will find, and get mentors. Get the people. I mean, these are people, I made 2 phone calls. These are people I made relationships with over many years. Build good relationships. Build the relationships with people that are doing well with their lives. That's what this is all about. You guys are all amazing. I'm listening to your stories going, I want to talk to you, and I want to talk to you, and I want to know more about you. This is where it's at. Do not get discouraged. Find your path. Find the way. There's people that are out there willing to help and want to help. So.
Yeah, true that.
Well, I think my message I just want to focus on, I think that usually in life they say, if you're not coming out of a crisis, a crisis is coming, or, you're coming into another one, right? So life is sometimes can be very challenging, and I think what happens is one of the life crushing things that I have is I thought at one time I was my body. And it's something that there's different phases in life. Like I think the first phase of life is what they call the athlete phase, where all you're doing is you're worrying about your body. You're in the gym, you're working out. Then you get into your 20s, and then you get in this warrior stage where you're out there hunting, building your business. You're out there, making things happen. And then you get into maybe your 40s or 50, and then you get into that statesman stage. You start asking the bigger question: what's the purpose of life? Why am I here? And I think a lot of people never make it to that phase. They get so caught up into the warrior stage, and before you know it, your life's over with. So I think something you can look at is ask yourself, what is your purpose of life? Why are you here? Start asking those big questions and stop being so stuck of running day to day, of making more and building more, because that's really not going to fulfill you. We're all proof of it. It's like when you've made it all, you just figure out there's more in life. And so we see it with movie stars and people all the time, people that have it all and they're miserable. So I just want you to just become aware of that and find a mentor, find somebody that's here to support you. Nick's got a lot of mentors, and you guys can talk to him. And this is something I just want you to consider.
I got to tell you, I got so wrapped up in all these stories, I don't even remember what the question was. This is
awesome. Wait a minute, I got to answer. Well, I was interested in hearing, because each of these stories that I've heard, has been through inspiration, a process of epiphanies that have helped transform you and led to that process of self-actualization. Like, Dave's story of going through these wild adventures, something that I could definitely relate to, and then wanting to change and get your life together. What is it for you that really inspired you and made you go through the self-actualization process? Maybe it was the process of almost dying because you fell off a 3-story building. I know.
I didn't even get a broken bone. Yeah.
Really?
Well, actually,
That's
I got a broken collarbone. I got a broken collarbone from some time in my life. I remember when I went to the military boot camp, the doctor said, "How did you break your collarbone?" And I said, "I have no idea." He goes, "You must know when you broke your collarbone. It's just over top of the other one. It must have been an extreme excruciating pain." And I really had no idea how that ever happened in my life. Didn't even know it happened.
Well, I guess maybe a learning lesson. It kind of was like a life-changing thing. I mean, one of the things for me was I got falsely diagnosed with terminal cancer, and I gave a succession plan to my business partner, Owen. And my game plan was to go to Barcelona and disappear, and then have some good food at my favorite tapas restaurant. And I didn't tell my wife, who I was dating at the time, or my parents or anything, but then I found out that the radiology report, this 8-page official-looking report, was wrong because they didn't look at the blood results in relative proportion. So I was furious. And then they gave me this bill that's like thousands of dollars, But I guess I'm interested not just in the experiences, but what is it, the learning lesson that really inspired you to want to transform and improve, that process of change?
Yeah, I can identify with that because I just recently did some blood work a few months ago where the doctor was literally texting me going, "Look, you need to come in, there's a problem." And I'm like, "What, do you think I'm dying or something?" And she's like, "That ain't funny, call me." And she thought I had cancer right through blood work. And so talk about being in a space of all of this. And I just was I said, "You're very funny." I texted her back and I said, it's not even possible. It's not going to happen, right? So she literally would call me once a week, "No, kid, you really need to come in. You need to get checked." And I said, "Thank you for worrying for me." Text her this. I don't. I'll be in a month or so, and you can test it then. And I'm going to go out and have an amazing life and just love my life. And then you can test it then. I say, but I'm not buying into I have anything wrong with me at all. And so sure enough, literally on the flight here to California, she texts me and says, "Everything is perfect. I don't know what happened or why." I said, "Because that's my reality." So that's that, and that's great. So inspiration. Unfortunately, mine's not as pretty because what happened for me is default. The default meaning there was many times where I was just, life just sucked, and I literally just gave up. And mine came from default of living past 30 years old, because I never thought I'd live past 30 years old. And when I lived past 30 years old, I finally realized, geez, maybe I should do something, right? Maybe I'm meant to do something here. I mean, I've had, nothing but all those challenging times, and it wasn't until past 30, I think I was almost 38, by the time I even decided to do anything different at all. And it was through literally just finally being broken down onto, do you really want to just live the rest of your life like this? Or do you want to go search for anything different? Is this really what and this is what I teach my students, did I really want to argue for my limitation over there? Or was I really going to at least look for some other difference of world that I could live in? And it really, so it got to be just finally just despair of it. I was like, well, yeah, I might as well go check something else out and figure it out and make something of my life. So I quit drinking, and I just totally changed my whole life and got into real estate investing, and then I made money with that. And the big shift for me into this was, again, I had all this money, I'm in a marriage that I'm not happy. Oh, you know what, I just realized what it was. Wow, this might bring tears to my eyes. So, I'm in a marriage, I know it's not going the way I want it to be, but I got plenty of money, I'm happy, I'm successful. And it just wasn't what I wanted. And I had a relationship with my dad finally later on. It wasn't a bad relationship, just wasn't as good. It wasn't a powerful conversation like this. I wanted to create a new conversation with him. And I was traveling through North Carolina, and I went to go speak, and I stopped to see him. And I sat in his house, and we go out and we help thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people transform their lives, and yet our people closest to us sometimes be the biggest challenge. I've been told that Jesus doesn't do miracles in his own city, so I kind of take that on. And so I'm sitting there with my dad, and I remember sitting there with him, and he's smoking, and I can't stand smoking. And he's sitting there in his living room just smoking, his whole house full of smoke, and barely anything saying. We sat there for like 4 or 5 hours, 6 hours, barely speaking at all. I'm just sitting here, how can I help change this guy's life? Because he was in a marriage, he didn't like the lady he was with. He had all these challenges, and in his life wasn't happy, and didn't really get anywhere. So I said, well, you know what, thanks, I love you, and I'll see you, I'm coming back in 2 weeks, I'll see you then. And I figured, okay, I'll get a new strategy. I'll come in, because I want to do this without making them wrong, like going, hey, Dad, your life kind of sucks, I'd like to help you with this. And I was just stuck. And a week and a half later, my sister calls me up and says, Dad just died in a car accident. Like that. And so that's what really, really changed my life in a huge thing. So when I went to go see him in the casket, right? I remember walking up there and getting teary-eyed like this, and just getting the presence. Even this guy I didn't really know and didn't think he was around much, didn't think he had much of an impact on my life. I realized how much I actually did love this guy. Like, I didn't even barely know him. And I also remembered in that moment that I was going home to get divorced and living a completely different life. If she hadn't changed, like I kept threatening, you better change doing these things or it's going to be done. And I remember going back home, and she said to me, I remember, she started having some breakdown and challenging and getting a fight, argument. And I remember her just taking all her power away by saying, I don't know why you're saying these hurtful things to me. You've already hurt me as much as you ever possibly can. Why do you want to do any more? And just went away like I had my power back. And she said to me, something's different in you. I said, yeah, you're right. I got to apologize to you. I said, I've been allowing you to do things that I don't accept in my relationship because I fear getting divorced, because I have a kid and I'm scared of like all that happening. And I love you, and please stop being the way you're going to be, or I have to leave. I'm going to end this. And that was a huge epiphany for me to go to inner strength. So when I teach and train and mentor people, I literally got divorced in the context of I love this woman tremendously, and it ain't working, and she's not willing to change it, and there's nothing else I could do. And I literally got such massive power out of that, and what I do now. Like, this was the hardest thing I ever did, is get divorced. And it's the most empowering thing that I've ever done as well, to like really make it a hard life decision. And maybe that's what the message is when you're faced with, when you're faced with what you should do, and you can't get yourself to do it, that's where your growth comes. That's when you go, look, you know what it is. If you knew you could not lose, what would you do? Answer that question, and now you know exactly what you should do. From there, you choose if you're going to do it or not. And only you can do that. And everybody around you will give the people you surround you will either support you in being stopped and stuck, or everyone you surround yourself will say, hey, you should do the hard, tough decision and do that. So that was probably one of the most huge empowering things that's happened to me probably in the last 10 years. I got married about 9-10 years ago. And ever since then, my power has just been tremendous, because I've gone through all kinds of challenges since then, and got to take every single tool that I give to my students to live more powerfully than ever before, and be able to relate where they are, exactly where they are in some really challenging life decision, and say, you get to choose. Your life says it. And if you choose that tougher one, if you get past your fear and actually be powerful enough, because we all have that. It's not in some of us. It's not me. It's not this panel. It's not like we're just chosen. Get clear on this, everyone listening. It's not like we're chosen to be this powerful person. You get to go, oh, look at them. We're not up anywhere. The reality of it is we're all here, and we are all desperately pleading to you to say, look, you all have this inside you. We're not special. We just got past our own fears, and that's why our passions are coming out the way they are, to go, look, we love you enough to say, we'll share what our challenging things are so that you can go tap into the power inside of all of you. So that's my message. I did not know what it was.
Oh man, so much of what you said I just totally relate to. Thank you for that. Thank you. Yeah, I remember my first Inc. article went out, and everyone, the comments, I had read them on Facebook. Man, people can be so brutal. They're like, look at this trust fund baby. Oh, great, she's doubled sales. Oh, how easy it was for her. Oh, yeah. And I think back to when I was thinking about my moment, it's the same as you. Similar, my father's passing. So here I am sitting at his last moments. We're watching the heart monitor go down, and that whole time, leading up to his passing, he just kept saying, Amanda, I didn't get to live it like I wanted to. I didn't get to live it. And I mean, he has a New York Times bestseller, you know, hundreds of thousands of people around the world just like loved my father. And yet, if you don't have that love for yourself, what is the money, you know? Sitting in a hospital room, yeah, he got VIP food. You know, we got the best room on the cancer floor, but, you know, what is it? And so stepping into the business was like, that is no way. Am I just going to jump into the grave with my father? Heck no, I wanted to curse there, but I didn't. So, yeah, after he passed, I mean, it was like I couldn't sleep because I had nightmares of him in the hospital. So I drive around LA right here, drive actually through Mulholland on this street, and I would park on the side of the road because I knew I could only sleep for about 3 hours before my legs would go to sleep, and then I'd have to wake up because my legs had fallen asleep. So it's just enough time where I wouldn't be able to see the nightmares. And I couldn't eat because I was so nervous about losing my father that it looked great for my figure, but inside I was dying. And I really had to come up with this decision of, do I want to take this thing over? And someone had said once that my father had built a culture of cowboys, a bunch of cowboys, and my father was the sheriff. So when the sheriff left, the cowboys just took at it, and they saw me and my mother just like the sweethearts, and they went after us. And it was just like, why would I ever want to be a part of any of this? Like, screw this, you know? But victim, victim, victim. And then it just, one day, and it was coming to Guruji. I feel so blessed that I have that, you know, it's exclusive to be able to go to her herself. I had been using her products and, you know, cleansing my aura and coming into oneness with myself. We have some really amazing things there. But I really needed to change everything. And I just laid it down. I said, what do I need to do to make that shift? And I went through a process of a couple of weeks. On the other side of that, I came out the other end saying, what can I do that will make the biggest impact for every person that comes into my world? What can I do to serve them as opposed to protecting my family or making enough money to pay the bills, or instead of that lack mentality, just become abundant? And from going from, you know, the business is going to kill me to, no, I can inspire other people so that when they're sitting on their deathbed, they're not thinking, I didn't get to do it. I didn't get to grow my business the way I wanted to. I didn't get to have that time to spend with my family because I was always working harder and, you know, work smarter, not harder. But so it became the moment that felt like it was crashing my whole world, became my fuel and became that forward of, okay, I can assist people and I'm going to do it my own way. So I fired a bunch of people and I changed our whole sales method, which we teach sales training. So for me to come in and say, well, I used to sell albums on stage, I know how to sell things, to now selling one-to-many on webinars, and I did joint ventures, and I just used what we taught. It changed it, and it made it a world where now I have a successful business, and then I get to live in a healing center and follow my passion of, living that abundant life from within and have experiences like what you're talking about. We were sitting there, you're like, I am tripping out, and I didn't even have any drugs. That was awesome, I think, yeah, that was some defining moments for me. But I mean, we all said the same thing, right? Changing your reality. It's not about being the victim, it's taking the stand. And I'm sure I hope everyone enjoyed that feedback. We bared our souls.
I think that I was thinking about this. It's like so many human beings are in some kind of physical pain. Maybe it's a disease, back pain, or some kind of pain. There's a lot of people that are struggling with disease, and it hurts. I mean, we just saw. And the most amazing thing, we had an opportunity to meet Guruji from India, and she's shared with us a way out of this pain. And one of the things that we're really about, we set up a nonprofit called Divine Bliss, and we want to open the light. We want to share people that there is no disease. There's a way out of pain, and this is why we're here. And we want to invite everybody to open up the possibility to come and look for a mentor or a place to remove the pain. So. Yeah.
I'm going to share with everybody how to get in touch with each of you. Yeah. And I'm really sure that our subscribers are going to love this. And if they have any questions, I'll get your contact information to them through your websites and what have you. Because not only do you have such an amazing story, each of you have amazing products. I love the vulnerabilities. These are things that I don't think people share. And I think it's just truly amazing that each of you were able to open up and share with me and everyone watching today. Thanks so much. Really appreciate it. Cheers.
Thank you so much. Thank you.